Alright guys, so let's get on to some Patreon requests. And our first one comes from John McKinney. And John McKinney asked me to do a Jurassic Park Ed, Edd, and Eddy crossover. So I'm going to try to work my magic here, folks. Anyway, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. My Xbox One just turned on by itself. That's concerning. Anyway, like I said, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending me when you guys get to the 4th tier, and that'll give you access to all the stuff on Patreon. I'm going to have more stuff up there soon, and also allow you to start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, yeah, let's get started with this video. So yes, we have a Jurassic Park Ed, Edd, and Eddy crossover. And you may be thinking, well, how the hell is this gonna work? Initially it was supposed to be like the 1993 movie in honor of the 30th anniversary. I almost said 50th, that would have been really fucking old. Anyway, this is a little different. Because this, I had to work it a bit, so we are in, like, the Jurassic World timeline. Like, we are in the timeline between Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. So we're in a space of suck right now. we are in or as I call it, untapped potential. So anyway, so here's the story. So basically, what's going on is that this is after the events of Lockwood Mansion, where the dinosaurs got out, as well as just genetic properties had been taken over by other people around the world, and dinosaurs are now popping up all over the world. Now, the cul-de-sac has been mostly unchanged. It has remained dino-free, but it's not like people are watching this on the... it isn't like the kids aren't aware of the dinosaurs that are now roaming around in the world. Like, they're not... It's not like they're stupid. They are aware of the news. So they're just kind of like, man, that looks pretty hairy out there. But Ed wants to have a pet dinosaur. Ed is talking about, like, I want... pet the dino. He goes like, dinosaurs are big chickens, Ed, and Double D's like, he's not wrong. But Double D is also curious because this would give him a chance to like study dinosaurs. But he also acknowledges that these dinosaurs that are appearing aren't real dinosaurs. They're, as Alan Grant once put it, genetically engineered theme park monsters. A lot of them are incredibly inaccurate, and many of them... And Double D also states the thing that Dominion should have mentioned from the beginning, and that is, this is really bad for the ecosystem. Because Double D explains that, like, our environment, as it stands, cannot support these megafauna. Like, if they are left unchecked, they will do horrendous damage. And, like, as much as I love the idea of dinosaurs returning, the problem is that our ecosystem is not equipped. It's not like it was in the 65 million years ago. Our resources have dwindled. You know, human life has grown exponentially. Furthermore, these animals are going to endanger further endangered species. Like, there's a chance that these guys could outcompete several other animals. And while Double D's explaining this, Ed and Eddy are just like kind of like staring off into space. And during Double D's rant, he's just like, not a word of this is getting through to either of you. I'm going to stop. But however, Eddy, on the other hand, is like seeing dollar signs in his eyes. It's like a lyric from that song Jukebox Hero, where it's like he's got stars in his eyes because he wants to be he wants to make his own JurassED Park, which I might actually title as this video. I'm not gonna lie. So he wants to make his own little Jurassic Park and make bank out of these dinosaurs. But the problem is that they don't know where the dinosaurs are. So Eddy convinces Ed and Double D that they need to go look for dinosaurs. And he also is like, I've got a way to capture dinosaurs. I know, like, there's a technique that my brother taught me that'll capture any kind of animal. That technique is the string with the shoebox. Only they made it bigger. And he's like, Eddie, and Double D's like, really, Eddie? A string with the shoebox string technique? There's no way that's gonna... And it immediately closes. But it's Ed who got, like, because they were using celery with peanut butter on it. And Ed just was like, I like peanut butter. He's like, but there's celery there. Celery is good with peanut butter, Double D. Everyone knows that. Peanut butter. I'm gonna stop the Ed stuff. So... that would make sense for Ed, right? Like, the only reason he would eat like anything green is if it had like something horrible on it. So he's like, so they have to get Ed out of it and reset the trap, and this time actually use like, if we're going like, we need to like, Eddie's like, we need to capture a carnivore. That needs to be our star attraction. And Eddie's like, no, let's go with a herbivore first and make sure that even though these animals could still kill us. So Eddie agrees that they'll try a herbivore first, and they actually do catch one. And he's like, score! I bet it's like a T-Rex or a Velociraptor, or maybe a Triceratops. And Double D goes, or maybe it's a Compsognathus. Compsognathus? And he shows it's like a group of compies who are like, you know, foraging through the food, and they take them, but Ed gets bit by one, and Ed's like, ooh, I feel woozy. And that's when Double D explains that these guys have venom, because it was canonized in Camp Cretaceous, so you can't say no to that. Anyway, so they do manage to capture more dinosaurs with the shoebox technique. They managed to capture an Oviraptor. They managed to capture a Stegosaurus by using a bigger one. They managed to capture a group of they managed to grab basically a lot of like herbivores and some omnivores. There's no real carnivore, but Eddie is like, he wants to get a carnivore. He wants like a big carnivore, and he's making Double D work day and night to make JurassED Park. And Eddie is like, I'm gonna catch me because we all know the carnivores make bank. That's the big thing. And that's what he really wants, is a carnivore. So Eddie rounds Eddie, and he's like, I need a tracker. I need a hunter. And I know just the guy. And he convinces Rolf is like, the three-haired Ed boy wants Rolf to go hunt giant lizard that might eat Rolf's chickens. And he's like, yeah. Don't you want it like secured somewhere where it's not breaking into your farm and eating your animals? And Rolf is like, Rolf agrees with the greedy Ed boy. Rolf will help you track dinosaur. You know, Rolf will help you track reptilian abomination of God. So, Rolf and Eddie and Ed go out into the woods to find a carnivore, and lo and behold, they actually find one, and it's probably one of the worst you could have found. The one they find is the one carnivore they find is a Torvosaurus. Now, Torvosaurus, for those who don't know, I'm adding this one in, even though this was on Jurassic Park's list. Torvosaurus was one of the largest carnivores in the Jurassic era, and was I'm talking like over 30 feet, like almost pushing 40 feet long. So how they do it is that they use like stakes from Rolf's meat locker to attract it and kind of like lure it to a massive net where they capture it, and Rolf uses a special brew that Nana uses as a sleep medicine to knock the animal out. So when Ed and Rolf drag the Torvosaurus back to Ed's little zoo, he's like, Double D's like, have you gone insane? I have no way of holding a dinosaur, like a carnivore like that, let alone one of the largest carnivores in history. And he's like, we'll figure something out, sockhead, because we're opening tomorrow. And lo and behold, Double D works around the clock to make, and they take, like, basically, they retrofit the junkyard into a new park, which Ed calls JurassED Park. And the fee is a mere 25 cents and Eddie actually dresses up as John Hammond for the day. Like, he goes full John Hammond. Only he's got a jawbreaker on his little jawbreaker on his little cane. He's like, "Welcome to JurassED Park," and he even makes Ed Double D play the Jurassic Park theme on the strings. And he's like, "This is so humiliating." But you probably know how this song and dance goes, because what happens next is a shock to no one. Because who knew making a dinosaur park out of scrap metal and paper mache and cardboard was not going to end well. And lo and behold, it doesn't end well, because the dinosaurs immediately break out. There's actually a fight, and the Torvosaurus is actually the one that first breaks out, just starts wrecking things. And it gets into a fight with the Stegosaurus. The two just immediately start tearing apart the park, while the dinosaurs just spread out everywhere, and just into the cul-de-sac, where they just start wrecking everything, and they're panicked to get away from the Torvosaurus. By the end of it, the Stegosaurus hits the Torvosaurus in the face, forces it to just retreat into the woods with this gash on its face, and the cul-de-sac just got wrecked by the dinosaur rampage, the ensuing dino rampage. And Double D's like, "Well, Eddie, you wanted to be John Hammond, now you're John Hammond. Shut up, sockhead." And that's how we end the episode. So there you go, guys. That is JurassED Park. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Once again, I'd like to thank John McKinney for this Patreon request. And like I said earlier, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the fourth tier, and you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.